Welcome back to another UFC fight prediction video. In this video, I will be predicting the prelim fights for UFC on Fox, Alvarez versus Poirier 2. And I'm going to keep these predictions pretty quick and to the point, these breakdowns quick and to the point, and kind of just run through these prelims. But I'm going to give good analysis and just keep it short. So without further ado, let's get to the first fight on the card. So in our first fight on the card, we have in the lightweight division, Devon Powell versus Alvaro Herrera. Devon Powell came off Dana White's looking for a fight. Alvaro Herrera came off the Ultimate Fighter. I think both fighters like 6 feet tall. Alvaro Herrera was 1-2 in the UFC. Devon Powell was 0-2 in the UFC. I think Devon Powell is the more technical fighter, slightly older. Alvaro Herrera is like slightly younger, but he's like the more, I say, he's like the this talent that needs to be shaping. I think he's bigger, like more filled out, stronger, more power. But Devon Powell has more technique and more, like he's the more technical fighter basically. So in this fight, I just think that Devon Powell is more technical, but his striking and defense isn't the best. It's not like he's the most fastest or the most gifted fighter, but he is gritty, very tough. I think that Alvaro Herrera is going to be able to kind of walk him down a bit. I think Powell's going to want to keep that range because Alvaro Herrera is the more powerful fighter, but I think Alvaro Herrera is going to be able to walk him down eventually, crack him in the second round, and I see a TKO stoppage. So in this fight, I have Alvaro Herrera via second round TKO. Then to our next fight, we have in the women's strawweight division, Randa Marcos versus Nina Ansaroff. So Randa Marcos, like not the best striking. She's kind of an awkward striker. She does that overhand right a lot, goes for takedowns. And that works a lot for her. She has a lot of good wins. I think her best attribute is her wrestling and her toughness. As far as Nina Ansaroff, I think she is improving greatly. Obviously been with like the partner of Amanda Nunes, who's one of the best women's fighters of all time. I think she's rubbing off on her, and Nina Ansaroff striking is coming along good, becoming sharper. She's like he's getting stronger, getting more filled out, and she's becoming a much better fighter. I think Randa Marcos is like kind of too predictable at this point. I think that Nina Ansaroff has come along so well. I think she's faster, her striking is much better. She has more tools on the feet. Her timing's getting better, her wrestling getting better, she's getting stronger. And I think that's going to be a little bit too much for Randa Marcos. I think she's going to do off her timing with her wrestling, negate Marcos' wrestling. She's going to be outlanding Marcos on the feet. And then when she gets Marcos off her wrestling timing, Nina Ansaroff will be able to set up her own takedown. I don't think she's going to finish Marcos, but I see Nina Ansaroff winning this fight via decision. So to the next fight we have in the flyweight division, Dustin Ortiz versus Matthias Nicolai. Matthias Nicolai has a pretty good striking. He's very I wouldn't say awkward, but he's very difficult on the feet. He can present a lot of different challenges and different setups and stuff. Have you always thinking. Has pretty good grappling. Has a couple submission wins and different setups for submissions. Whereas Dustin Ortiz is not necessarily the best striker, not necessarily the fastest fighter, but he does have a very good smothering type of wrestling style where he gets in your face. He's very strong, and he can hold pretty much anyone down and negate their submissions off their back. And just pretty much kind of smother you. That's the kind of style he has. And he has a gritty style. He can do that for the whole fight. So he's not somebody that's going to be gassed now. He's always going to be someone that, unless you take him out of the fight, he's going to be in the fight, pressuring you and trying to smother you or trying to take you out. I think Nicolai's good enough on the ground that he won't get taken out by TKO or anything else like that. But I think Dustin Ortiz will be able to smother him for most of the fight. I think on the feet he'll be losing, but on the ground he'll be right in his comfort zone and be able to negate a lot of Matthias's submission attempts off his back. I think with the control time, I think Dustin Ortiz will win, and I think the striking total will be about even because Dustin Ortiz will get ground strikes, so it's gonna be about even on his total strikes goal. But Ortiz will win with control time. So in this fight, I have Dustin Ortiz via decision. Then on to our next fight, we have in the women's flyweight division, Alexis Davis versus Kaitlyn Chookagian. Chookagian, a very good striker, very fast, a lot of different angles and stuff she works with, and a lot of good kicks and a lot of little different blitz she throws in there. Alexis Davis, not the most pretty striker, but a true veteran. I think this is her second fight at 125, coming down from 135, where she was one of the top fighters there. And then she's already 2-0 at this weight class. I think as far as Chookagian, I think, like I said, a good striker. Alexis Davis, I think she's a much better grappler than Chookagian. I think on the feet, Chookagian would definitely have the advantage. But I think overall, Alexis Davis has the edge. I think with that veteran experience, and she'll be able to mix in takedowns, and when on the ground, I think she'll be able to set up submission attempts and stuff to either transition or to keep Chookagian worrying as far as when Chookagian try to get back to her feet or try to transition herself, those submission attempts will kind of keep Chigaki in check. And it's like another fight, I think that it's more so gonna be the grappling that's gonna pull this fight out for Alexis Davis. I think she's gonna be able to pull the fight out with her grappling. I think Chigaki is a tough fighter, so she won't really get submitted. There will be some close calls, I think, but I think she's tough enough and she's savvy enough that she will be able to defend those submissions. But I see Alexis Davis winning like a very gritty, tough fight for her, especially stylistically wise with the striking and speed and all this stuff and the height difference and all that stuff. It will be a tough, gritty fight, but I think Alexis Davis will win this one. So in this fight, I have Alexis Davis via decision. Then on to our next fight, we have in the lightweight division, John Makdessi versus Ross Pearson. Ross Pearson, Ultimate Fighter winner, Team USA versus Team Britain, or Team UK. And then John Makdessi, longtime lightweight. So a very good matchup, two strikers. I think Ross Pearson definitely has better wrestling and maybe grappling, but John Makdessi, I think, is the better striker. But he's not bad off his back or any other places. But I think he is a better striker. And he's faster. I think his better technique, better stuff. And he really has to be the better striker a lot of times because he's often giving up huge height advantages like this, or he has huge height disadvantages. So he has to be that good with his timing, has to be that good with his technique, because if he isn't, he'll be coming up short a lot. So, and he rarely ever comes up short, even though he gives up so much height to a lot of the fighters he fights. Pretty much every fighter he fights, he gives up a whole rack of height, a whole lot of reach, and a whole lot of everything. But he has that speed, that timing, precision, and that technical ability. So in this fight, I think that Ross Pearson is good at what he does. He's a very good boxer, very good at smothering you and getting close and throwing those hooks and kind of coming with that jab a little bit. But I think that's not going to be enough. I think John Makdessi is going to be the one beat him to the punch, be a little too fast, be a little too technical. And Ross Pearson really going to be coming up short. I don't think Ross Pearson's wrestling is that good enough that he'll really be able to get under John Makdessi too much or too often enough to win this fight. I think John Makdessi is just going to be beating him to the punch. Ross Pearson might get a takedown, might try to stall against the cage, but for the most part, Makdessi's going to be kind of being like the bull and matador, just piecing him up. And Ross Pearson is coming up short every single, like 80% of the time. So in this fight, I just got John Makdessi via decision. Then on to our next fight, we have in the light heavyweight division, Gazmarad Antigulov versus Ion Cutelaba. And this is a pretty quick prediction. I think Ion Cutelaba is a very aggressive, very in-your-face fighter. He wants to get in your face. He wants to rough you up. He wants to be a bully. He calls himself like he dresses up like the Hulk at weigh-in sometimes. He might not have Hulk power, but he definitely has that Hulk aggression. The power not matching, but the aggression is definitely there in your face from the beginning of the first bell to the last bell, unless he finishes you, trying to be in your face, trying to hurt you at all times. But against Gazmarad Antigulov, that's just not really going to work. That's just where he wants you to be. I don't think Kutelov's submission game is that good either. So if he's trying to get in his face that much, I think he's going to set himself up right to be wrestled by the much better wrestler in Gulov. And I think Gulov is going to take him down every round, smother him, and just make him pay for his aggression every single time, hold him down, maybe try to go for finish. But I think Cutelaba is a very tough fighter, very hard to finish. So it's not going to be like he's going to take him out and destroy him. It's going to be like he's going to take him down and destroy him. But Cutelaba is going to take all that punishment. But I think it's going to be a pretty one-sided beatdown. And Antigulov is going to win a decision. So in this fight, I have Gazmarad Antigulov via decision. Then on to our next match, we have in the featherweight division, Hakeem Dawah versus Austin Arnett. An interesting matchup, at least 0-1 versus 0-2. I don't know how Arnett got in the UFC. Like he lost his Contender Series fight, but somehow he still got in the UFC and lost after that. Then Hakeem Dawah, a fighter with a lot of talent, a lot of like hype coming into his UFC debut, but got upset, got finished in the first round, got starched. But I think the talent's still there. As far as Austin Arnett, I'm not too sure about him. I haven't seen anything too impressive about him. It seemed like he has some submission wins on his record, but against Hakeem Dawah, I think Dawah has fought a lot of good people who are good at submission, good at grappling, and he's been able to negate a lot of those people. I think most of the people he's beaten have been of higher level than Austin Arnett. So in this fight, I just think that Hakeem Dawah is going to be the much better striker. It's going to piece Austin Arnett up. I think he's on a whole different level of striking that Austin Arnett has yet to face, and I think it's going to be a first-round knockout for Hakeem Dawah. So in this fight, I just think I have Hakeem Dawah via first-round knockout, or KO, TKO. Then on to our next fight, we have in the lightweight division, Kaden Johnson versus Islam Makhachev. So Kaden Johnson, I learned from like the Ultimate Fighter series that He's a very technical fighter, good everywhere. He's one of those gym rats, one of those people that's a veteran, been around the sports, been around the regional circuits, and been around for a long time. And he's very crafty. He's very good. He's knowledgeable everywhere. Has pretty good striking, control of range, and all that stuff. It seemed like he just never had that like exactly it factor. Like he had all this, but yeah, he had all the skills, but he didn't have the ability to put them all together to win big fights and put himself on, move himself up. But it seems like he's starting to put himself together and like all the little skills together, his grappling, his striking, his timing, and when things are right to do things, and like I don't know, I guess improving his fight IQ is what I would say is improving it. It also seems like he's got in power at least in one fight. But who knows? All that being said, Kaden Johnson's still a solid fighter, is getting better, but he's fighting against Islam Makhachev, who is, I think, one of the better talents in the whole sport, really. He'd had one setback, but like his skills are finally coming together. He's finally realizing his potential. His striking's improving. His wrestling and sambo was already top notch. I think he's just going to keep getting better. I think he's just going to be too much for Kaden Johnson. I think grappling wise, he's just on a different level. Striking wise, I think he has to worry for Kaden Johnson a bit because that is where he could best be caught. But on the ground, I think he's just on a whole different level from Kaden Johnson. He'll be able to smother him, throw him around, flip him around, transition, beat him up, pound him out. So I think that's what he's going to do. I don't think he's going to play with him on the feet too much because that's a dangerous area for him. He certainly could compete with him there, but definitely smart move to take him down. And I think that's what he's going to do. I think he's going to take him down, smother him, beat him up for like the first round. In the second round, he's going to go for the finish. And I think he'll get the finish. So in this fight, I have Islam Makhachev via second round TKO. Now on to our prelim headliner. We have in the welterweight division, Jordan Mein versus Alex Morono. So Jordan Mein been fighting since he was like 12. Very talented, very technical. He doesn't do too well with getting smothered sometimes. Has a very weak body, but outside of that, he's one of the most dangerous, most technical fighters that there is, period. Any division, very technical, very talented, good framing for the weight class, all that. Alex Morono, kind of on the shorter side, but he's very aggressive, very in your face. That can pose to be a threat for Jordan Mein. But outside of that, there's really nothing too worrisome about Morono. He doesn't have the most power, but he can certainly be in your face, and that causes a lot of people problems. But I think in this fight, Jordan Mein is just going to turn it on. I don't think Morono really does too many body shots or body kicks, so that's not too worried for Jordan Mein. I don't think his wrestling is that great. I mean, it's not really great at all. It's just kind of decent enough. So I think Jordan Main's going to be able to have a pretty good matchup in this fight. He's going to be able to control the range, out technical, like pretty much be much more technical than Morono, keep him at bay, mixing up combinations, keeping him frustrated. And I think he'll probably actually finish Morono in this fight. I think Morono try to come in there and be aggressive, but I think it's going to be going right into Jordan Main's game. He's going to be countering him. Then we counter him, we're going to walk him down, tag him up a bit. And I see like in the second round, Jordan Mein with the submission after kind of breaking him down. Then I think Morono going to probably present a neck or present a limb. And I see Jordan Mein getting the submission. So in this fight, I have Jordan Mein via second round submission. And that concludes my fight predictions for the prelims for UFC on Fox, Alvarez versus Poirier. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and come back for more videos. Peace.